Right, watch up, number 35. Bandit, thing, cowling, nose cone, thingamajig, indicators. Let's get some way of mounting them so they look half decent. Welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Okay, watch up. Now, I hope you like the last format. We just did that as a bit of a way of getting forward. I had something like 2.5 hours work to do just messing about with this, and it really was detailed, boring, nothing interesting, and it just take a long time to really effectively just weld that top on. That's all it actually has achieved. So now this is a little bit hopefully more interesting for you. I want to mount some indicators on this cowling. Now to just put them, common sense says you could just put them through there and just bolt them on. But that's easy, isn't it? And you know me, why do it when it's easy? Why take the path of least resistance when you can make it difficult for yourself? Hey, Pen. Yeah. By the way, welcome back to Penny Pitstop. Penny's not been so well, so it's been me, you and the tripod, but she's back now, so the videos will improve immensely, as they always do when she's involved.
Some might not think so.
Right, so here we go. Hands up, who's ever heard of Frenching? Stop stingering at the back, no laughing. Frenching is the process of mounting things like lights and locks and aerials and so on custom cars down inside a tube. It's kind of a 70s thing, goes way back. If you look at, you'd find say the wing or fender of your custom hot rod, usually in the kind of lead sled stuff, you'd find that there wouldn't be an aerial on the wing, there'd just be a hole in the top of the wing. When you press a button, the aerial emerges out of it because it's mounted down inside the tube. You also get lights on the back of things. You just look it up. What is it, Google Images, just put in Frenched lights. You'll see they sit down inside a recessed tube, and what I thought might be, whoops, quite cool, is,
broken.
buy some more, yeah, one broken indicator, is to mount these down inside a tube, and then mount the tube somewhere so it looks like it fits. So kind of mount them so they live down inside a tube like that, and you can't see the kind of ugly stalks that are on it. Incidentally, way back in the beginning of the project, I'm going to show you this. This is the indicators we got. Now these were a gift from a very kind viewer who said he had them in his drawer. They were for a Harley Davidson and he wasn't going to use them. I did price them up. They're worth about probably £35 and they're kind of alloy, solid metal, LED indicators. And I found these on eBay, and but for the fact the obvious elephant in the room, which is that they're chrome and they're not black, they are still LED and they are pretty cool. Sadly, they're not as good quality as the real ones because these came from China and they were £9.99. What's not to like? So there you go. These are going to do the job, simple as that. And if they don't work or whatever, then I'll have a solid way to mount them. They are metal. They are proper sort of cast monkey metal or whatever, and they are kind of a black LED. There's not a bulb in there. It's a proper LED thing. So they're going to get mounted. So I've got 2 of them, and they arrived just the other day. And as I've got them and not the Speedo, I'm going to do the mountings for that rather than the sort of Speedo shelf, because I don't really know what size to do that until I know what it looks like. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So the first thing before anything else is I'm going to cut 2 lengths of tube dead square. The idea of doing that is that then I've got the tubing that I'm going to use, and then it's about welding a washer on the back so that you end up with a plugged tube at the bottom, so you can, yeah, you'll see, stick around, I'll show you what I mean. Right, first task. Just going to cut a couple of lengths out of this. It's not going to be any more than that because the stalk of the indicator is only that much. That's all you can bury, that much. So it's not going to be Frenched any deeper than about 1 inch, so that's enough for the job. And I can put the rest of the tubing into stock. This incidentally is tubing that when we built Penny Pitstop's shop fit, interestingly, this is all stuff we've got left. It's kind of loads of it. I've got some nasty 2.5 inch stuff, all kinds of big old bits of tube in there, and this is stainless frame tube, so you could make a bike frame out of that. It is good stuff, and I certainly think it's man enough for a couple of Chinese indicators. Hey, right, I'm just going to cut. I reckon the only way to cut them absolutely exact is use the old trick with the grinder. Ooh. That's the easiest way to check, more or less. It has to be, you know, 90% upright. So that means they're roughly flush. That's good enough, because I'm going to, just the fact that it's in one piece, I'm going to weld the washers on each end to make the butt ends, and I'll cut it in half when I know the exact length it needs to be. I'm not sure yet, so there we go. Set the welder up.
Oh, has that been a
Right, get the burrs out. Okay, now that's the, where the indicator go, pen? There it is. That's the size of the end. That's the 8mm hole. So that's what it needs to go through. So a washer any bigger than that would be too big, and I need to just get that off there. Right, just need to put that. Ah, it doesn't. Now here comes the fun. I can't use the weld magnets because it's stainless and it doesn't.
I was about to say that.
Right. So if that's the case, what do I do instead, Pen? Come on. What do we do instead? What's the next best thing to hold that washer in place?
We need to put a screw in there.
There we are. That's what we need. Bolts right there. So as you can do, just to hold it in the centre. And put another knot on, that will hold it in position. There we are. And there's stainless washers and a stainless tube, so it will just be nice hot temperature and that will go in. Right, now I can hold that. It's got just enough room. Doesn't quite, obviously that doesn't quite meet there. It's not quite a fit that I wanted it to be, but it's enough. The weld will fill it up, and then I can just grind it back, take that out, and I should have a cap in the end. So let's see how it works. Washer held in between two nuts and a bolt, so I can hold onto the washer, not going anywhere. That held in, I can just rest that. It's kind of testing everything, just kind of test holding it, so I can hold it there and sting it just enough. It's got to be in just a little bit, so I can then lap the welds down for prettiness. Right, let's see if we can tack it. Ready, Penny?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, because I want the bottom completely flush. Actually got a chance. That weld's taken quite well. To bend that so the bolt is completely in line with the tube. Ready for the second hit. Rice pen?
Mm-hmm.
Right, messy and hot, but now it's time to just grind all that back and see if we've made it look like we need it to be. Right, grind it back. Right, so there we are.
Make your own fireworks.
A simple tube with a hole at the bottom. You see that down there, Glenn?
Oh, if I wasn't in the shadows.
In your own light. There you go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Right, so this is obviously, this tube is currently too long, obviously. I'm just going to weld the other end on, and then I've got both pieces of tube that I need. It's probably only going to be about 1 inch long. Do a little bit more finessing on that to get that little notch out. But in a nutshell, it's nice and cool now. So that will be on the inside. Just want to check it all fits. So that will fit reversed. That will be on the inside through there. So there's not much point in showing you that, really, is there? So basically that will protrude through that thread, and I can nut that on the outside, and then that part of it will be on the inside. So all I've got to do in the future is measure that much and then cut those off. But what I would like to do is, when I cut that off, is to notch it so that it goes round there. But it depends where it's going to go in this. So anyway, for now I'm going to do the other one and get it lapped off and then cut them in half. In the meantime, Penny's going to go and make a cup of tea, aren't you? See you in a minute. Right, there we are. That's the nut off the bottom of the washer that dropped inside. So there's a washer now on each end. What I've done is I've made a piece of tubing with a washer welded on each end, like that. And that's where I welded the washer down into a recess, welded and filled it up and just ground it off. So that's now solid and about, by the look of it, 2.5 mil thick. So that's good and beef, which is what it needs to be, because it's going to hold a metal indicator. So all I'm going to do is hack that in half, and I'll show you what we do with them. Where'd the hacksaw go, Ken? Where did I put it? Right there. Strips. Hacksaw. There it is. It's up there. Why didn't you tell me it's up there? Why didn't you tell me? You're hiding it from me. Right, there you go.
I think my brain is freezing.
Yeah, it's a bit cold out.
It's very cold.
Right, just going to literally log this in half now. Always easier to use a hacksaw than a grinder to cut it, because it's stainless, and you can cut it with stainless, but cut it with a disc, honestly it takes forever, and it makes such a lot of noise and fuss and mess. Far easier just to run hacksaw for it. I've only got to be in half, because roughly in half, because I'll grind it all down. Right, there we go. There's a little nut off the end of the support bolt. Right, there's one. So these are too long at the minute. Done and proud. Done and proud. They've done me proud. Here we go. So all they are literally is to put the indicator down inside like that. So when you mount the indicators, that will obviously be trimmed to the right length. It will sit down inside a tube. In fact, it's not far off. That one's come through about, I don't know, ½ inch. So it probably needs about 3/4 inch, but I'm going to notch it. It might have to be an angle, and I'll show you why. What we're going to do with it, let's just get the cowl off the bike. Here's the one I took off earlier. Can't see the pigeons. Now I've managed to do a few little things off camera or on that time-lapse stuff that I got out of the way, and that was, one of them was welding the nuts on the inside of these brackets, so I can just put the bolt straight out from underneath. Now I know where we are. These are going to get lobbed off, because now I know they're in the way, because that's the space that I'm going to encroach into. So I'll show it me. There we go. Right, now obviously what I want is the indicators mounted kind of on the side about there, but buried down inside, so they'll get these, all I'll be doing is cutting, just going to cut a couple of holes there and weld that on the inside down into that space. So that's a classic typical Frenched mount, and there'll be a space there because I'll measure it all. So let's do that. All I've got to do now is, first thing is, because obviously symmetry is important, is offer the light up to this, and I can do that because these bolts piggyback on those, so the light I'll scuff the lens. So now, because they piggyback off there, I can use that. Just to hold them in place and tell me where the space is. That's what I need to know, is where the room. So obviously what I'm looking for about that much Frenched tube, I need it to go inside there, and the space is about there. You see that, Pen? Mm-hmm. Where that lug is, if I cut that lug out, then I've got that much room in there, and that's easily enough for that. And obviously then that has to be cut at the angle to flush mount that. So there's a little bit of measuring and head scratching, but the first job is to cut those lugs off, so I've got a bit more space. Right, that's the lug, that's the offending lug in question, and I'm going to leave that one on because I might use that for something else, but that one we don't need at all, because that's where the Frenched end is going to come in for mountage. So what I need to do is trim them off, and they really don't do anything, they're right in to there. So it's just hacksaw, just take them off. Very gently, with love and consideration. There we are. And I should just round that with a disc a bit later on, or that disc. Other side. It was easier to leave these on and decide what I need to do once I know. So that's it. Now I've got the space we need. Right, but that is it for now. The reason for that is we've got this 7:45 now. I've been in since 5 o'clock. This hasn't taken 3 hours, but we've been doing other stuff. What we can. But now I've got these made. You can see the idea with those. You can see what's happening. These are Frenching an item, an aerial, a light, an indicator, wherever, is as old as the hills. It goes back to Sugar Bear, the main man himself, and it is so old. And I like doing it. It's that's sort of something I just want on the bike, so that's what this is all about. Don't need to take this much trouble. I could literally cut a hole in that and just mount it through one of those holes. It would be so easy, but that would be crap. It's got to be something a little bit interesting, otherwise it's not worth it, is it? It's a project after all. So this for now, we're going to call it a day, aren't we, Pen? Yep. It's been a long day. I'm going to get this rendered and loaded up, and probably up by Friday. It's now Thursday night, so we'll get this up by tomorrow night, and then we'll do another one Sunday. We'll try and finish this on Sunday and get them welded in and mounted. I'm rushing now, and I'm going to cut corners, and when they need to be the right angle and stuff, there's no point in getting it wrong because you can only do it once. Okay, is there anything else, Pen?
The hoodies and long sleeves, just to let you know that they're all being printed at the moment. Okay, so I'm on to it. Yeah, if you've bought a hoodie or a shirt or any sort of merchandise, it is being done. It's going to be about another 4 or 5 days, he said, didn't he? About a week or so. About a week for the delivery. It was 2 weeks, wasn't it? And then we got to start getting them packed. If anyone's got any queries, just email me on the address. Okay, there we go. Thanks for watching number 35. It's slow progress, but progress nonetheless. Take it easy, ride safe, and we'll see you on Sunday.